Hi, I'm Barry Sahazian. This video is two-handed bass tapping for tritone licks. So what is a tritone? Well, a tritone is what makes a seventh chord a seventh chord. Basically, it's the interval of 1 and sharp 4, or flat 5, whichever you would prefer. You've heard it. Jacko used it extensively in one of his cliches all the time. It was. In these examples, I'm going to be using an E7th. What you heard in the intro is what we're going to be working on. The only thing is that they're triplets and there's 4 measures. I'm not going to teach you the whole lick at once. I would like to teach you each section of it, each measure, by itself, because you can use any of those measures on a 7th chord and other spots too, given you know a little theory, and I'll explore that a little bit. Let's concentrate just on using it on a 7th chord. In this case, it'll be the 1 and the 3 on the left hand. And it would be part of the arpeggio of the E7th dominant 7th chord. So that would be the 5th and the 9th technically. And then we have the tritone here in the right hand. And we're going to be using 1 and 2 there. That's convenient because just the way it's shaped, sort of diagonally from one fret to the next. That will be the first lick. That's pretty easy. You got this, these 2 fingers, and then these 2 fingers. So at this point, it will make good sense to practice that a lot so it becomes second nature to play it. You don't have to think about it. But the thing is, if you do that, you know this in 1 chord. You know this for 1 chord, and that would be an E 7th chord. What happens if you want to play in a G 7th chord or a D 7th chord? How would you do that? You could take the shape and kind of negotiate where it is, but if we apply a little theory, it makes it much easier to negotiate this. What we have to do is analyze this line. And the line starts on the 5th of the E. You have the E, and then you play the 5th. And then you have your other position of your left hand with the 3rd finger, and that will be the major 2nd. And then we have on the right hand with that other shape, the tritone. Now I'd like to show you the entire arpeggio to give it perspective to what you're doing here. So you have 5th, 2nd, 3rd, and then you have the flat 7. And you're thinking about what it is you're playing, and it's an E. It's like that. Now let's move it to the key of G. So we know the lowest note is going to be the 5th of the G, which would be a D right here. You have a G, and then your 5th. So we have to start here and use that same shape. Now you're thinking in terms of the shape, and it looks like this and this. We know that already. So if you place your fingers like that on the left hand, 1st and 3rd finger, a fret apart, and then your tritone over here, which starts 1 fret over from that, and now you have your G7. Let's go back to the E for the heck of it. We're working on our next phrase, which happens on beats 3 and 4 of the first measure. A lot of things are the same as the first phrase, and I'll show you the differences. First of all, this phrase is played on the A and the D strings. Secondly, the phrase starts on the root as opposed to the 5th. And we use the same fingering, root, 5th with the 3rd finger, and then we play the tritone. Now the difference here between this and the first phrase is the tritone happens 1 fret further apart. Phrase 1, they were adjacent. Phrase 2, they were an additional fret apart. The pattern is the same. Play it fast, it sounds pretty nice. We're going to take that and use it with other 7th chords aside from an E7. So now we're going to do just that. We're going to play this new phrase which starts on beats 3 and 4 of our first measure, and we're going to play it in B, a B7. So we need a B, a root, because this shape starts on the root, 5th, and then 3rd and 7th. So we'll choose, so I choose to play it here on the 9th fret of the D string, and that's our root, the B. And then the 5th would be the F sharp, 13th fret of the G string, and then a fret in between, or a half step, and we play our tritone. And that would be 13th fret of the D string for the 3rd, and 14th fret of the G string for the 7th. Or, let's play our pattern on it now. There we go, we have a B7. We used that new shape in a new place, and it was a B7. Let's take it a step further. This is a little bit more advanced, but it is a great thing to learn. Let's take it through the cycle of fourths. I'm not going to go through the whole 12 keys. I'll just go through a few of them. Now with this new shape, we have a new advantage. We can go from B7th to E7th with one simple move. Just take our tritone and move it down. From here, just that one simple move, moving the tritone from here on the B7 to here, makes it an E7th. So B7th, E7th. The next would be an A7th if you're going through the circle of fourths. How do we get to A7? Now this requires moving both hands, but not that much, and it's negotiable. We take our left hand and move it down one whole step or 2 frets, and we take our right hand and move it down 1/2 step or 1 fret. So I'll play all 3 of them now just to illustrate. Then move these 2. And then we want to go to D7. Once again, we just move our right hand down a 1/2 step to D7. Want to go to G7. We know what we have to do. We have to move our left hand down 1 whole step or 2 frets, and our right hand on the tritone, 1/2 step or 1 fret. And that gives us a G7th. Here's our root, G, 5th D, and then 3rd B, and flat 7 F. Now we want to move from G to C7th. We just move down 1/2 step with our right hand. Let's try that all the way from B. So we're going to start with the B, E7th, A7th, moving both hands, D7th, moving the right hand down 1 fret, G7th, moving down a whole step with the left hand and 1/2 step with the right hand, gives us a G7. Here's the root. To move to the C7, we move our right hand down 1/2 step, and we have a C7. I'd like to show you another example going through the cycle of fourths from B7 to C7, B7, E7, A7, D7, G7, and C7. That is a little easier on technique with the right hand, but it can get you acquainted with the shapes moving through the cycle of fourths. And what we would do, starting on B, and I'll review, we have the root and the 5th with the 1st and 3rd finger. Then we have a fret in between, and we play our tritone. And what we're going to do with the right hand that's a little easier is we're going to tap both of the notes and pull them off to the root in 5th position. Sounds like this. Because it's a little easier, we can put our concentration on just moving the shapes. That's all for this one. If you like this video, please subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of all the videos yet to come, like and comment. Thank you for stopping by. Hope to see you again.